feel like it's been long enough that I can finally share this story, but this was a really bad date I went on, I think in September. So we meet on Hinge. This is where all terrible dates seem to begin. We're texting, we're vibing, we honestly had really good banter. He asked me out to this restaurant, I agreed to go. The restaurant that he picked didn't really have a dress code. It was one of those places that could be casual if you wanted it to be, or you could dress up if you wanted to. So I didn't really know the vibes for the dress code, but if I have the ability to dress up, I'm gonna take it every time. I put on this cute outfit. I'm wearing these heeled boots that I have that are like 4 or 5 inches tall, and I was like, that might be a little much for a first date, but this guy said he was like 6'1", and then when we were texting, he was talking about how he played basketball and was really good at it, so I didn't really think much of it. Fast forward, I get to the restaurant. He said he was already there. He already had a table for us, so I go inside and meet him. He stands up from the table and gives me a hug to greet me. Immediately, I was like, damn, this bitch lied about his height. He is short as fuck. Like, I was towering over him. Which I'm not gonna lie, was kind of annoying because my philosophy as a tall girl is like, if his height starts with a 5, that's a friend. However, I mean, like, I can look past it. If I like a guy enough, I can actually look past anything. So I was like, you know what, it's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker. Like, I'm just not gonna mention it. I honestly wasn't that bothered by it, but he seemed to be really bothered by it because as soon as we sit down, he was like, you didn't tell me you were like really fucking tall. And I was like, well, you know, I am wearing heels. I'm on the taller side, but I'm wearing heels. And he's like, why are you wearing heels? Like, that's just really extra. We're just getting dinner. Well, babe, I am actually just an extra bitch, so you are in for a ride. I seemed really bothered by like the fact that I'm tall and like what my outfit choice was, and this was back when I couldn't stand on business a couple months ago, so I didn't say anything. I was like, let's just move on. We move on. He asked if I'd ever been to the restaurant. I said no. He asked if he can order for me. I say no because I'm a picky eater, which is just so embarrassing, but I was like, no, I prefer to order for myself because I'm just a picky eater. This man rolled his eyes and scoffed at me when I said that, which like was so just inappropriate. Waitress comes over. He's super rude to her, won't look at her. He then proceeded to order for me. He ordered a drink for me, and I already told him that I don't really drink alcohol, so I was like, oh no, I don't actually want the vodka soda, just give me water. He again scoffed in front of the waitress when I said this. I order my food. She looks at him to order, and he just said that we were gonna split the thing that I ordered, which I don't mind splitting, but he didn't tell me that beforehand, and he also told me that we were getting dinner. I thought it was more of a dinner situation versus drinks and an appetizer. We ordered the food. Honestly, the conversation was pretty good. Like, we were vibing, like the banter was good. Every once in a while though, he would make like a really rude or weird remark towards me for seemingly no reason. I'll never forget how he asked me what I did that day, and I was talking about how I went to the gym, and he's just like, oh, you work out? I was like, yeah, like I'm really big into weightlifting. I go 5 days a week. And he just stared at me. He was like, you don't really look like you work out. Well, damn, that is so rude. Like, I know I'm not a muscle mommy, but like, why would you say that? I had other remarks as well, but that was the only one that really stood out to me. But eventually the food comes, and y'all, he ate 90% of the thing I ordered. You could tell I was pissed off too because I was starving, and I wasn't even trying to hide the fact that I was hungry. And his excuse was like, oh, well, like, you know, I know you're on your gym grind, so this food is like not good for you. Like, I don't think you should be eating it. I could have just left, but again, I was just not good at standing on business, so I was just sitting around kind of waiting for things to wrap up. Waitress dropped off the check. He paid. I literally saw him write 0 for a tip, and like, mind you, he has been super rude and dismissive to this girl the whole time. I was so pissed off. Wait, we're in the parking lot. I'm trying to, you know, head the fuck out. He's like, oh, did you want to come over and chill at my place? Are you delusional? Oh, I can't. I have to be up in the morning, plus I'm not the Netflix and chill type of girl. Because I'm not. He rolled his eyes, scoffed at me, saying, sure you're not. I get home, he sent me a text asking if I got home safe. I wasn't gonna respond, but I was like, you know what, let me just say I got home safe, and then just tell him I'm not going to be seeing him again. However, when I sent that text, he had already blocked me. Oh yeah, I have a feeling he wanted me to know that he blocked me. That's why he sent that text, because I don't know why else he would do that. But yeah, he still stalks me on Instagram from time to time though. So if he's seeing this, hey, like, you suck.
Allow me to tell you about an interesting date I went on with a guy who wanted a heck of a lot more than I bargained for. I've not been on a date in well over 1.5 years. Also with that, I've never had a relationship, but that does not mean that I have not had some interesting date stories, okay? So sit back, relax, and allow me to tell you why I'm still single. There's so many interesting ones, I don't know where to start. You know what? I've nicknamed them all, so let's begin with Dan, the dogging man. So let me take you back to 2020. I was 18, he was 22, and this was literally like a few days before we went into lockdown, which is crazy. We met each other on Tinder, and this is the one and only, the first and last time I've ever gone on a Tinder date. Never again. Oh, I hate dating apps as it is, and that is definitely not a dating app, okay? That is a booty call app, and I learned that pretty quickly on this date. Well, technically I learned it after the date. Allow me to explain. So like I said, we met on Tinder, we messaged for like a couple of days, and I already knew of who he was. So that's the only reason I went on this date, okay? That's why dating apps terrify me. I don't like meeting up with strangers. So I already knew of him, so I was like, okay, let's do it. At the time, I'd only ever been on dates that were like, take me to Nando's or whatever, you know what I mean? And he was like, oh, do you want to go for a drink? And I was like, wow, that's really mature. That's really cool. Okay, let's go for a drink. So he picked me up a couple of days later and we went to a really shit bar, honestly, in my hometown. It's shocking. I can't even believe I've actually been in there. And that's not me trying to sound like ungrateful for where he took me. Like, it was absolutely fine. I don't care where we go as long as we're like connecting, but just the bar has like a reputation of being quite tragic. Anyway, so we went to this bar and, you know, got a couple of drinks and everything, and we were actually getting on really, really well. Like, we was in there for a good like hour and a half, I want to say. Talked about all the usual stuff, you know, family, likes, dislikes and everything. Like I said, we got on really, really well. And then a conversation that we landed upon, which at the time I genuinely thought was quite normal because it was very heavily talked about. I was still like just fresh out of college at that point. We talked about like virginity and stuff like that, and, you know, obviously I was like, well, I am very much still a virgin, okay? Which is still true to this day, I'll be honest with you. He was like, oh, I really respect you for that. You've got a lot of self-respect for that. Which boys always say to me, and I'm like, are you basically saying that girls who aren't, like, don't have respect for themselves? Because that's an odd message to send. Please don't say that, girlies. You're absolutely fine. Anyway, this is context, okay? So he knows this. So we have a couple more drinks, and then he's like, oh, do you want to, like, it's getting kind of late, should we leave? And I was like, yeah, honestly, because this place is a bit crap. Anyway, so we walk out and he's like, oh, do you want to maybe like go for a drive? By this point, I think it's like 9:30 at night. Like I said, we're still in my hometown, so I still feel pretty safe. He was like, do you want to go for a drive? And I was like, oh, I know what a drive means. I know what drive means. But I was like, huh, okay. I was still in my very much phase of, I really don't know how to say no. Like, I find it really, really awkward. Do you know what I still do now? Honestly, I'm like, oh, I don't want to say no and sound weird, but I was like, okay, let's go for a drive. And here's where it all goes downhill. Oh my goodness. We get in his car, we drive him for about 10 minutes or whatever, still chatting on the way, and he takes me to a very strange location, okay? He takes me to our local leisure centre, like our local swimming pool's car park. Like I said, it's what, 9:30 at night. We're not going swimming. I don't know why there's quite a few cars in the car park. I wasn't expecting that, and I also don't know why he took me there. But at the time I was like, oh, maybe he just wanted to go to a secluded place, free to just sort of leave your car and just park up for a bit and just have a chat. Okay, fair enough. Maybe he just thought of this off the top of his head and was like, well, yeah, we'll go there. Spoiler alert, that's not the case. So we park up and we're talking for, I want to say at least like another half an hour. And when I say we're talking, I mean I am, okay? Because from this point on, hello, he barely answered any questions about himself. He kept directing the conversation back towards me and was like, no, I want to hear more about you. And I was like, look, respectfully, okay, I can't build a connection with you if I don't know anything about you, because it feels like I'm doing all the talking here. Also, it was a very dimly lit car park, and I think the light from the lamppost was on me, but not on him, so he was in the dark. It just felt a bit ominous, you know, he wasn't saying anything. Then, now, this is a very key detail, okay, quite funny, but also I am so glad that I have sisters that are willing to do this, or even think to do this without me asking them, okay? I hadn't realised they'd been blowing up my phone, you know, for the past sort of half an hour anyway, while I was in this location, saying like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. I just sort of kept looking at the phone and going, oh, just leave me alone, I'll text you after. I'll tell you what happened, like, after. I thought they were just eager to know about the date. At this point, I rarely went on any. At this point, we're sitting in the car having a chat, and I see a car drive past in front. Bear in mind, no other cars are moving, okay? This car came into the car park, drove past our car, and circled around, and then went back out. Looked at the number plate, and I was like, that looks like my sister's car. I was fairly certain that that was my sister's number plate and my sister's car, and I was like, I wonder what she's doing here. Maybe just checking up on me. A little bit weird, bit overprotective. I thought nothing of it, and I was like, do you know what? I'll just ask her when I get home. Kept talking for a little bit more, and then I think the section that we were in of the car park was closing, so we moved to another section. At this point, it was like 11 o'clock at night, and like I said, we'd been talking for the past couple hours, or at least I had, so I wasn't really feeling much anymore, and I was like, I don't know about this, you know, and I was like, honestly, we don't have to move to a different spot. I was like, oh, do you know what? I've actually got to be up early in the morning. I'm going on like a little, you know, trip with my mum and my sisters, like, maybe you could drop me home. He was like, no, let's just stay out a little bit longer. Let's just chat for a little bit more. I love talking to you. And I was like, oh, Okay, fine. So we moved on to a different spot in the car park, and I carried on talking. Bearing in mind that when I go on first dates or I'm around men in general, I get very nervous, very anxious. I feel very nauseous, you know, it's just not a very good situation. And I end up probably spewing a lot of crap because I'm not really thinking about what's coming out of my mouth. So I'd love to know what I filled the time with, quite honestly. So it's building, right? I know that a kiss or something is looming. I know it's coming, all right? He offers me gum and everything. And then he starts leaning in and fidgeting in his seat. Bearing in mind, he still hasn't really said anything, okay? The conversation's all been about me. He leans in and he goes, do you want to know what I think? Sorry. Oh, ick. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. TikTokers made me hate that face. I'll fast forward, okay, we did a little kissy and had like a few little kisses. One thing you should probably know about me is that I find kissing very, very awkward. I still do. I think it's just because I maybe haven't found the right person to kiss yet or something. But either way, every time I've done it, I've just felt like, oh, this is really awkward. But I've always been told that I'm quite good. So I take grace in that. But I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we had a few kisses and I was like, do you know what? This is not. And he was trying to make advances, like he wanted it to go a bit further, and I was like, whoa, hold your horses, bucko, that is not gonna happen tonight. This is a very bizarre statement to come out of my mouth, okay? I shouldn't have to say this, but I eventually convinced him to drive me home at like, what, midnight? You should never have to convince a guy to drop you home from a date. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. So drops me home, and for some prior context as well, when he picked me up like a few doors down from mine. Fair enough, you wouldn't know the exact house, that's all right. But on the way back, he also then dropped me at like the end of my road, which is like a couple minutes walk up to my house. You know, it's pitch black, it's midnight. And I was like, oh, you can park outside my house, like it's fine. Like no one's awake or whatever, if that's what you're worried about. And he was like, no, it's better this way. What are you talking about? On the way back from the car park that he took me to, he kept going, oh wow, that got really intense, didn't it? That got really heated. And I was thinking, I don't know if we're in the same car, mate, but I weren't feeling what you were feeling. Maybe I have that effect on people. I don't know, but I weren't feeling it. For you, maybe, not for me. So I go in my house and my mum and my sister are literally waiting behind the front door like, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? And I was like, yeah, it wasn't really that great. And they were like, do you know where he took you? Because they were checking on like Life 360. That's why she obviously followed me in the car park. I was like, yeah, he took me to the swimming pool car park. Like, what on earth? And she went, no, he took you to a popular dogging spot. What the fuck? Needless to say, we did no barking of any kind, and he definitely did not get a second date. Thinking about it now, I might be traumatised by that date, honestly, but I did end up going on more. So if you want to hear more date stories, let me know.
Get ready with me as I tell you about one of the worst dates I've ever been on, where I had to literally run out halfway through. Okay, so about a year ago, I started talking to this guy on Instagram. And looking back, this man had so many red flags. But he was 6'3", so shit was looking a little green to me. And one of his big red flags was that he had a very weird relationship with his mom. And I don't mean like, oh, they were just really close. I mean like Sigmund Freud was in his grave like, told you bitches. He would somehow find a way to bring his mom up in every conversation that we had. Say I was like, oh yeah, I love The Walking Dead. He would be like, my mom loves The Walking Dead too. He would go on and on about how he wants to find a girlfriend that's exactly like his mom because his mom has the perfect personality and he can't see himself being with anyone who doesn't act like her. He was also 26 and did not live at home, but for some reason still had to ask his mom permission anytime he did anything social. Like before we went on our first date, he was like, yeah, I'm talking this over with my mom. I'll let you know what she says. Their relationship was odd, to say the least. Anyway, so the day of our date rolls around and I text him early in the day and I'm like, hey, just checking in to make sure we're still on for tonight. He responds and he's like, yep, 7 o'clock still works for me. I'm super excited. Can't wait to see you. So like 15 minutes before our date's supposed to start, I text him and I'm like, hey, just letting you know, I just called my Uber. I'll be there in 15. To which he responds, fuck. Like the only thing his message says is fuck. And I'm like, what? What's the problem? He sends another message and is like, sorry, I got held up at my friend's house. I should be over there shortly. And normally I would have just said, okay, and then not gone on the date. But my hair and makeup were already done and I was in my dumb bitch era. So I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Just let me know when you're leaving. And after 30 minutes of waiting, he finally texts me to let me know he's leaving. So then we both head to the restaurant and he gets there a little bit before me. So he sends me a text and he's like, hey, I'm waiting at the table for you. And when I walk in and see him sitting at the table, I am floored. Talk took away my 10-minute feature, so don't hate me, but go see part 2.